Under the quiet breath of a winter sky, the world seemed to hold itself still, as if waiting for a note not yet played. The hills rested like folded hands, and the cold night shimmered with a strange expectancy. In the small town where dusk meets starlight, a weary couple searched for shelter, carrying a promise they didn't fully understand, only felt deep in their bones like the pulse of something ancient. And in that humble place where wood smelled of labor and straw whispered with the weight of life, a child drew his first breath as the dark broke open. A soft glow rose from the horizon, not from the sun, but from a quiet flame that lit itself within the hearts of those who listened to the silence. The wind moved gently, as if brushing away the veil between heaven and earth, and all creation seemed to lean closer. In the stillness, the child slept, wrapped in cloth worn thin by travel, a small river of warmth cutting through the cold. Like the first thaw of spring, his presence stirred the air, the way a seed stirs the soil before it splits open. Shepherds on the hills felt the night change before they saw anything. The sheep grew calm, their breaths rising like small clouds carried by moonlight. Then came the light, stretching across the sky in shimmering beams, like water catching fire. They heard a voice, not with their ears but with their spirits, urging them to follow the radiance, to walk towards something they had longed for without naming. And so they ran, hearts pounding like drums, echoing across the valley, their steps breaking frost beneath their feet. In the stable, the lantern flickered, casting long shadows that danced on the wooden beams above. The mother watched her child with eyes that held both exhaustion and wonder, the kind of wonder that feels too large for a single lifetime. She traced his small face with trembling fingers, not knowing the road he would walk, only sensing that his path would bend the world. The father stood nearby, steady as the mountains, guarding the fragile miracle entrusted to him, though he understood little beyond a calling that pressed on him like dawn pressing on night. The shepherds arrived breathless, overwhelmed by the quiet glow surrounding this tiny life. They knelt without meaning to, moved by a force as gentle and unstoppable as the tide. The air felt warmer here, as if the boundaries between brokenness and hope had lifted. They gazed at the child and something within them loosened. Fear melted, sorrow shifted, and a strange peace settled deep as roots. Beyond the stable walls, the world continued unaware. Merchants slept, travelers dreamed, kings plotted, and the weary sank deeper into their burdens. Yet in that hidden pocket of earth, a light was born that would one day reach every shadowed corner. A light that would remind the world that even in silence, even in smallness, even in the lowliest of places, love begins its greatest stories. The star burned brighter overhead, guiding wanderers from distant lands. Even they felt the pull, as if the sky itself was writing invitation. For now they journeyed slowly, unaware that the very road beneath their feet was bending toward this moment, toward a child who breathed gentleness into a hardened world. Night slowly softened into the first pale strokes of morning. The child stirred, letting out a soft cry that echoed like the first note of a long-awaited song. The mother held him close, whispering words no one else would ever hear, words woven from courage all, and a love wider than the horizon. The father wrapped his arms around them, and together they welcomed the dawn rising over Bethlehem. For in the birth of one small life, a new story began, one written in light instead of fear, in hope instead of despair, in the steady, quiet strength of love that grows like fire in the coldest night. There was a road that wound through hills faded by winter, a narrow path where travelers moved slowly, carrying the weight of distance and the quiet ache of uncertainty. The night before had been long, chilled by a restless wind, and the dawn came pale and hesitant, as though unsure of its place. Yet the couple walked on, guided by a pull they could neither explain nor resist, a whisper in their spirits that urged them forward toward a glow not yet seen. The dust beneath their feet rose gently with each step, drifting like faded memories behind them. The woman leaned on the steady arm of the man beside her, her breath deep and tired but brave. Her child stirred within her, a quiet movement like the ripple of water when the first drop of rain touches its surface. She felt the world shift around her, as though every stone and every branch bowed in recognition of something approaching, something tender and powerful all at once. As they walked, the sky grew brighter, brushing the earth with a faint gold that spread slowly, warming the cold edges of the morning birds. Silent through the night, now began their cautious songs, as if sensing that this day held more weight than others. The man adjusted the pack over his shoulder and kept watch on the road ahead, protective, determined. Though his steps were heavy, his spirit held the quiet strength of a mountain standing against wind and storm. The town in the distance appeared like a watercolor brushed with early light, roofs scattered like resting birds, streets narrow and winding, but the path toward it felt longer than it should, as though time stretched itself to make room for the moment that awaited them. They pressed on, every heartbeat a drum, echoing the promise they carried, not a promise spoken, but one felt in the warmth of breath, in the soft rhythm of life preparing to meet the world. When they reached the town's edge, people rushed in every direction, voices rising and fading in a tangled chorus of needs and burdens. No one noticed the weary pair slipping through the crowd, searching for a place to rest. Door after door closed gently but firmly, not out of cruelty but out of fullness. Each home already overflowing with travelers seeking the same shelter. Still they continued, hope flickering like a candle shielded by trembling hands. The woman's steps faltered, and the man caught her, holding her as though the whole world rested within her frame. He knocked again, and though the answer was another soft refusal, this time a stranger pointed toward a quiet corner beyond the noise, where a small stable offered shade from the setting sun. Relief washed over them, not joy but gratitude, deep enough to anchor their tired souls. They approached the humble shelter, and the smell of straw, earth, and warm animals met them like an embrace. The man cleared a space, laying down fresh hay, while the woman lowered herself carefully, touching the wooden beams as if greeting old friends. The air grew still, as though the stable itself held its breath in anticipation. And when the first cry broke the silence, the world seemed to bow under the weight of wonder. The newborn's voice rose like the soft crackle of a fire catching flame, small yet steady. The woman held him close, her face softened by awe, her heart open like a flower pressed by dawn. The man placed his hand over hers, and in that fragile circle of warmth they felt themselves woven into a story larger than anything they could name. The child's eyes, barely open, reflected the lantern's glow, tiny sparks of light that seemed to stretch far beyond the stable's walls. Outside, evening settled again, brushing the sky in shades of indigo and amber. A single star rose brighter than the rest, its glow spreading like a quiet invitation, stirring distant travelers who would soon follow its path. But within the stable, the family rested, wrapped in the soft roar of love and the gentle promise of tomorrow. For on that road through weariness and shadows, they had walked toward a firelight destined to warm the coldest corners of the world. The night had settled deep over the hills, a velvet quiet stretching across the grazing fields, where shepherds kept their patient watch, their fires burned low, soft circles of ember light trembling in the wind, sheep clustered nearby, their breaths rising like small clouds that vanished into the dark. It was an ordinary night shaped by routine and the steady rhythm of a world asleep.
Yet something in the air felt different, an almost imperceptible vibration, a pulse beneath the silence, as though the earth itself held a secret waiting to unfold. The youngest shepherd sensed it first. He lifted his head, listening, unsure if what stirred in him was fear or wonder. In the distance the horizon glowed, faintly, not with dawn, but with a warmth that seemed too alive to belong to the stars.
The others noticed it too. They stood, stepping closer to the edge of the hill, their shadows lengthened by the distant shimmer.
The night around them thickened, not with darkness but with anticipation. Then, as if drawn by a breath not of this world, the light expanded, soft and slow, like a flower opening under moonlight.
The shepherds shielded their eyes, not from harsh brightness, but from a radiance so gentle it felt like wind brushing the heart. The air grew warm, carrying a stillness that hushed every anxious thought.
And through that glow came a voice, clear, soft and steady, as though spoken from the very center of the sky.
The words were not commands, but invitations, not warnings, but promises. Peace flowed from them like water finding its way through stones.
Do not fear, a child has come, hope has taken breath.
The message wove through them, filling spaces they didn't know were empty. Each shepherd felt something rise within him, courage, warmth, a strange and tender longing. The fields around them seemed to pulse with new life. Even the sheep lifted their heads, listening.
Then the light swelled once more, and for a moment the night looked like morning. The sky shimmered with shapes they could not name, figures moving like flames that dance without burning, voices layering into harmonies that felt older than time. It was as though heaven had bent low enough to rest its forehead against the earth.
The shepherds fell to their knees, not from fear, but from all deeper than breath. And as quickly as it had appeared, the vision softened, fading like mist touched by sunlight, leaving only a single trail of glow pointing toward the town below. The night regained its darkness, but the darkness felt changed, gentler, thinner, as though unable to hide the wonder that had passed through it. They looked at each other breathless, the fire now crackling behind them, like an echo of the revelation. Something in them had awakened, something that urged them forward. They gathered their cloaks, steadied their steps, and began the descent into the sleeping valley. The path was uneven, carved by time and weather, yet they moved quickly, as though guided by an unseen hand. The wind brushed past, cold but alive, carrying with it the faint scent of hay and smoke and something sweeter, like the beginning of spring. The youngest shepherd clutched his staff tightly, imagining what sort of child could stir the sky to song. As they neared the edge of Bethlehem, the glow grew clearer, a lantern burning in a place too humble to be noticed, a small beacon held in the cradle of night. The shepherds followed its pull, every step echoing the promise they had heard. When they reached the stable, they paused, hearts pounding, as if the quiet beyond the doorway held the whole world suspended.
Inside, the air was warm, fragrant with straw, and the steady breath of resting animals. A man stood near a woman who cradled a newborn child, her face softened by exhaustion and wonder. The shepherds approached slowly, reverently, as though crossing into a story not meant for ordinary people.
Yet the moment welcomed them like a homecoming. The child's eyes fluttered open, catching the lantern's glow. In that gentle flicker, something inside each shepherd settled into place, a peace they had never known, a hope they had not dared to imagine. They bowed their heads, not in fear, but in gratitude, feeling the weight of the night lift from their spirits. Outside, the wind whispered through the fields again, carrying the quiet truth across the hills. On this night, in the quiet stretch of midnight, where the hills breathe cold and slow, the shepherds kept their vigil beneath a sky of trembling stars. Their fires were small embers against the vastness, their hopes tucked into warm cloaks, their thoughts wandering through the silence of another endless night. Yet something in the air felt different. A stillness waited with wonder, as though the heavens themselves were holding their breath, waiting for a moment long promised but never seen. Suddenly the darkness trembled with light, a radiant bloom so pure that the shepherds fell to their knees, shielding their eyes from a glory too bright for mortal flesh. The angel's voice broke through the night like a song woven from eternity, speaking words they barely understood, yet felt in the depths of their soul. Fear not, for behold, I bring good news of great joy, for unto you is born this night in the city of David a Savior, Christ the Lord. And with those words the sky burst open into a harmony of countless voices, a choir of celestial fire, singing of peace on earth, of mercy in flesh, of heaven drawing near. The shepherds rose with trembling hearts, abandoning their flocks, running through fields washed in moonlight, as if the world had been reborn. Breathless, they followed the angel's message toward a single shimmering star, burning brighter than all others, guiding them through the cold, through uncertainty, through all each step carried a mixture of fear and joy. For who were they to witness such a miracle? Simple men with calloused hands, now beckoned into the center of a divine promise unfolding beneath the winter sky. At last they reached the stable, a humble refuge of timber and straw, where the scent of hay mingled with the soft rustle of animals resting in the quiet. And there, in the glow of a lantern's gentle flame, they found the child wrapped in swaddling cloths, lying in a manger. His face held the calm of an ancient promise, the serenity of a king who chose poverty over grandeur, love over power, a cradle over a throne. Mary watched with tender eyes, Joseph standing guard with quiet strength, both welcoming these trembling strangers who arrived with hearts undone. The shepherds fell in reverence, unable to speak, for every word felt too small for the holiness resting before them. They offered the only things they possessed: wonder, gratitude, worship born not from wealth, but from the recognition of salvation, beginning in the gentlest form. And in that simple space, lit only by starlight and hope, they understood that the world had changed forever, that heaven had stepped into time, choosing the lowly first, the forgotten first, the humble first. When they finally left, they carried the scene within them like a flame that could not be extinguished. Across fields and valleys, through town, still heavy with sleep, they proclaimed what they had seen, their voices lifting into the cold night air with joy that spilled beyond words. Every footstep felt lighter, every breath filled with the certainty that God had come near, not in thunder or might, but in the soft cry of a newborn wrapped in fragile cloth. And so the shepherds walked into the darkness with hearts illuminated, knowing their lives had been touched by something eternal. The child in the manger had drawn heaven to earth, and the world, though unaware, was already shifting beneath the weight of that love on that holy night. The shepherd's calling became a song, one that echoed through generations, whispering that the Savior came for all, even the simplest among us. A midnight miracle, forever brightening the long road of humankind.
In the dim glow of a lantern's trembling flame, Mary sat in the quiet, her breath soft and steady as she held the newborn against her heart. The world beyond the stable walls was still settling into night, the chill of winter weaving through the hills. Yet inside this humble shelter there was warmth, warmth not born from fire, but from the presence of a child who seemed to carry eternity within his fragile frame. She looked at him, her hands trembling slightly, overwhelmed by the truth that God had chosen her, a simple girl, to cradle salvation itself. As the animals shifted in the straw, their movements gentle, Mary whispered words only the child could hear, promises formed from the depths of her soul. She spoke of love stronger than fear, of courage she did not yet fully possess, of trust in the path laid before them. She did not know every detail of what his future would demand, but she felt the weight of prophecy resting in his small, steady breathing. And though uncertainty pressed against her, a quiet peace wrapped itself around her, like a cloak woven from heaven's own light. Joseph watched from the doorway, silhouette framed by moonlight. He carried exhaustion in his shoulders, yet pride glimmered in his eyes. A man chosen not for strength alone, but for kindness, for steadfastness, for the ability to protect something holy with gentle hands. He approached Mary slowly, kneeling beside her, one calloused hand resting on the manger's rough edge. Together they gazed at the child, and in that silence they understood each other more deeply than words could carry. Their lives had changed forever, and though the road ahead would twist into shadows and sorrows they could not imagine, they would walk it together under the guidance of the one who now slept in their arms. Mary thought of the journey that had brought them here, the long miles through dust and wind, the weariness that clung to their bones, the uncertainty that followed each step. Yet all of it had been worth enduring for this singular moment, this quiet miracle in the heart of a broken world. She remembered the angel's voice, the promise spoken over her, the stirring of life within her body, the deep sense of purpose that had bloomed even when she didn't understand. Now seeing the child's small fingers curl around hers, she felt that promise alive, breathing, beaten against her palm. Outside, the star continued to burn in the heavens, casting its soft light through the slats of the wooden stable. Mary imagined that its glow was a reminder, not just to the world, but to her, that heaven was closer than it had ever been, that the child she held was both fragile and infinite, both humble and holy. She traced the outline of his brow with the gentlest touch, memorizing every feature as though imprinting eternity into her memory. She wondered what his first words would be, how his laughter would sound, how the world would shape itself around his footsteps. Her heart swelled with emotion as she whispered another promise, that no matter what storms would come, no matter what shadows would stretch across their future, she would walk beside him. She would carry love like a shield, faith like a flame, and trust like a steady path beneath uncertain skies. She knew she could not protect him from everything, but she could offer him her devotion, her courage, her willingness to be shaped by God's purpose, even when the road grew steep. The child stirred, his tiny hand brushing against her cheek, as though he understood the vows she placed before him. His eyes fluttered open just for a moment, and in that brief meeting Mary felt as though time had unfolded into something boundless. His gaze held an ancient depth, a whisper of the divine, wrapped in newborn innocence. It stole her breath, filled her with awe, reminded her that she was witnessing the beginning of redemption's story unfolding in the quiet of night. Joseph rested a hand on her shoulder, grounding her, reassuring her. Together they formed a circle around the child, a circle of love, of protection, of faith forged not from certainty, but from obedience to a calling greater than themselves. And in that intimate moment, Mary felt another promise rise within her, that what God had begun, He would ripple through nations, hearts, and generations, reaching farther than she could ever imagine. So beneath the glow of a silent star, in a stable hidden from the world's grandeur, Mary embraced the holy weight of motherhood. Her whispered promises mingled with the cold night air, carrying hope beyond the walls of that humble space. For this child, this miracle entrusted to her arms, would one day carry the world in his own